Hello people, and welcome back to another episode of Cities, Skylines, Modular Builds. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So we are back here in our modular build map where last episode we worked on the tram park. Don't forget to check that out if you haven't already. How we can use a couple of park assets and some trams to make a nice little kind of focus centre. We'll have a lot of different people moving around. And in today's episode, what we're going to be focusing on is a organic and local produce park and how you can combine a couple of different specializations and park areas to make a really different looking area within your city. For these builds, you will require the Park Life and Green Cities DLC, and you can also factor in the Snowfall DLC with your trams if you like. I'm not going to, but I'll explain how you can do that. So from any node point in your city, or again over in a totally empty part of your map, however you decide to hook this into your city network, I'm going to be using the 2-lane roads with grass and 2-lane road with trees for this. And I'm going to come out from a point and we're going to make sure all our snapping is on. I'm just using the straight road tool at the moment, and I'm going to come out by 20 blocks, which is a cost of 1200. And again, we know when we hit 20 because each of these blue lines is an interval of 10, so that'd be 20, and then the same again on the other side. Nice and simple. Then I'm going to come out from this point here by 480, which is 8 blocks. So if this is 10, we move back by 2 points, so that would be 9, and then 8, 480. Nice and easy. And then I'm going to come out by 10, which is a cost of 600, and then 10 again. And just make a nice simple rectangle, simple like that. So you're just moving out to the 10 markers in each point, and you're going to get a nice block like that, nice and easy. And then I'm going to bring this road up around the edge. So we know that this cost here was 480, which was a block of 8. So we can draw this out from this point here. So there's 480 again, which is 8 markers. Then I'm going to bring this guy up to snap onto it. And then the same again on this side. We can see the road marker there snapping on now. And then bring it up and then just delete that placeholder that we placed in. So right now everything is perfectly symmetrical. It's exactly as we like it. And yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into what we're going to do with some policies. So first of all, we're going to paint out a district by coming into our district tools, districts and areas, and then coming into paint district, and then just come down to your small tool, and I'm just going to grab the road node points again and then just paint it out ever so slightly away from the road, just so we catch the tiles that are adjacent to that road, and then bring it down just like that. So we have a glade square right now. And then I'm going to come into commercial specializations and then grab the organic and local produce. Again, this comes with Green Cities. It produces 50% of goods sold locally. Truck traffic in the area is reduced by 50%, increases electricity consumption by 20%, and reduces garbage production by 20%. However, it also significantly changes up the way that the buildings look within this district, and they look really nice. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab some paths, and I'm going to draw one. Well, it would be 2, I suppose. I'm going to draw one right through the middle like this, and then one through there. So we have 2 nice parallel paths, and then depending on how you like it, you can kind of alternate these like that, and then draw them up together, or you can have them kind of perfectly parallel with one another. Really depends how you want it to look. Just go ahead and design that inner path network as you like. And then I'm going to come into my parks and plazas, and we're going to grab a small park main gate. I'm going to place this slightly off center, obviously because we're playing with a block of 8, and we can't quite get it in the middle. So I'm going to go for this block here, then have 2 blocks between this edge of the road and 3 between this edge. And then I'm going to grab a side gate as well and pop that in there, and that's going to generate us a park area. So I'm going to go ahead into my park area and then just paint this out. Let's go for a little bit of a bigger thing here so we can paint it out easier, and then just encompass this whole area. And then if you like, you can just paint that one out so we don't ruin it, and then just kind of trim this up as to how you like it. You know, if you're pretty anal about your districts, then you can, you know, trim it up right to the road. But as long as it's encompassing the whole area, then we're going to be okay. Then I'm going to grab a road again, and then straight opposite this point here, so the node right in the middle, I'm going to snap back onto that point. Now, if you're finding that there's too many trees on the roads here, you can go ahead and upgrade these ones on the outside into grassy bank roads, which are the 2-lane road with grass. It just has this nice kind of grass verge around the edge of it. So depending if you want too many trees, it could be nice just to have the trees in the middle. I think it highlights it a little bit more. But, you know, you do you. And with these squares in the middle, we're going to go ahead and paint out a bunch of low density commercial. It doesn't matter if this is low or high density, because we have the local and organic produce specialization here. It means that it isn't affected by low and high density zonings. And a big block of 4 along here, and a block of 4 along here. And then back into our park area. And we're going to grab some more side gates, and again, same things here. Exactly as we place them over here, so everything is perfectly parallel and symmetrical right now. And then we're going to come into our paths. Now, I use the dirt paths for this because it's kind of, it fits in with the theme nicely, but you can use whatever you like, any of the paths from the Park Life expansion. The nature reserve path is also a really nice shout for this area, and I think we'll use that actually, just to change it up a little bit. And we're going to bring these out and snap onto this first road guideline here, and we're going to do that for each side. Just straight up to the edge of the road, and you'll see it snaps onto this like dashed blue line here, and then you'll have something that looks a little bit like that right now. And then we're going to turn all our snapping off, and then we're going to move over to our freeform road tool, and then we're just going to take this path on some nice angles. You can be a little bit wavy with it if you want, and then just kind of hook it up back to the adjacent side, and you can take it kind of in any direction you like, whatever pattern suits you. If you want to remain straight and rigid and snapping onto all the road guidelines, then feel free to go ahead and do that as well, whatever works for you really. And then really, that's kind of the basic kind of layout and road design. We then want to come ahead into our paths, and I'm going to go ahead, into our park life stuff, and grab some park fence. Now you can use whatever park fence you like for this. The nature reserve path actually looks really nice on this. It's kind of this like wooden kind of broken fence. I'm going to use this one, but again, feel free to use any of the park life fences, whatever kind of fits best into your city design. And again, with all our snapping off, it's going to allow us to draw them in a lot easier. And you can just kind of come out from each fence. Each gate has a snap node on it, so you can snap straight onto the gate, which is handy. But it's helpful to have all your snapping off, just because it makes it a little bit easier to get around kind of these finer, smaller corners. And you can bring it up to there, and then just hook it into kind of the corner of your zoning like that. And just go ahead and do that all the way around, or as much or as little as you like. It really just depends on how you want this to look. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit play, and with the little bit of commercial demand that we have right now, we'll start to see some buildings begin to develop in the middle. And we've also need to kind of hook up with power. I'm just going to go ahead and place in a park asset. Let's just go for, I think a dog park should hook us up nicely. Yeah, that's going to give everybody power. And you've also got a nice little park on the corner. And then we'll start to watch some things develop in the middle. So let's go ahead and kind of decorate our park. Let's come back into our city park stuff. Now there is a bunch of kind of different assets you can place along here. Let's go ahead and actually hook these guys up with water as well, so they don't get too angry with us. Let's kind of come ahead and grab these wider tiles as well. So within the city park stuff, there's a whole bunch of different assets you can use. Obviously we've already used the park plazas. I don't think they work too well in here. The ones that do work nicely are kind of the park info booths. You can have these in here, which look pretty nice. And then you can also go ahead and add in a bunch of gazebos. And there's a nice little thing you can do with the gazebo. If we go ahead and grab our kind of path again, I'm just going to bring a little branch off just about here, and then go ahead and grab a gazebo and drop it on the corner. And then you can maybe go ahead and grab in some little bushes, and just with a single strength just kind of line the path with a bunch of bushes, bring it in around here and just make a little bit of a feature out of it. Grab some nice coloured trees, maybe drop a couple in around it, you know, whatever you want, maybe a couple of nice little green ones as well, and just make kind of a little dedicated park area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and decorate my park in a similar fashion to this, and then we'll cut back and then we'll see what we end up with. Okay guys, so I've just finished decorating my park. I've kept it quite green, as you can obviously see. There's a lot of trees around here, and we now have some nice commercial within the middle. So I'll just go ahead and explain what I've done here, and maybe you guys can get some inspiration from it. So kind of, you know, we have this path that loops all the way around the edge of the commercial. Let's kind of follow the path through. So we have this little gazebo here that we've made that's surrounded by some nice little blotches of colour, and kind of some trees that are present throughout the park as well. I've also fleshed out a load of kind of like a little mini wooded area right behind all this renewable commercial. So you know, it's nice and kind of hidden and very green and natural looking. And then we have one of the kind of the climbing frame here as well, that's surrounded by some nice bushes and quite concealed from the road as well. And as we head here and cross the road, we have a bunch of different park assets. So in our city park stuff, towards the back end of it, we have some of these tiles that you can place down, which are what these things are here. A bunch of tables and kind of like a little mini food stand, almost like street food kind of thing. And then I've also just surrounded the tiles with some hedges and some flower beds. Unfortunately, Sims won't use these assets. The game isn't programmed that way. It's just kind of there for decoration, but it looks quite nice. And then flowing through, we've got a little bit of a rock feature that's kind of overgrown with some large bushes and some small bushes, and a couple of trees in the middle of them. And again, from the roadside, it looks really nice as well. If you're not a fan of kind of the sporadic tree placing, you want it to look quite uniform, ignore the abandonment in the background, then you can kind of line all of these trees around the entire edge of the park like we have here, so you can kind of, you know, get a visual for what that looks like from the roadside. Looks quite nice. It's up to you how you want to design that. And then following the path, we have another gazebo that's in like a little bit of a crowded woodland, and then following the path back out again, we arrive at the beginning of the road. Within the middle of these paths that flow through here as well, I've placed in something similar to what we built here, using those tiles and a couple of flower beds and a couple of like little food truck and an ice cream truck, and a couple of little bins and trash cans on either end with some tables in the middle. And we've also got some commercial that's generated in here as well, that actually fits in perfectly with the dirt paths that we've placed around. Taking a look at some of these renewable green local and organic produce buildings, they look really nice. They're not kind of nearly as harsh as the regular commercial buildings, and they fit in really, really nicely with this kind of very green looking park, which is you know, what we were trying to go for. So yeah, that's kind of it. I mentioned how you can kind of factor in your tram network into this. So if you do want, because trams are probably like, you know, the most green way of kind of having public transport in your system, all you've got to do is kind of come through here and then just upgrade these roads into tram roads, and that's going to create you a perfect tram loop. And then what we can do is just come ahead and plop in a tram line here, and maybe one on the other side as well. And then as the trams continue to flow around, we'll start to see them come and enter this area. So now you can have a bunch of trams flowing through here. The trams look really sweet. Maybe let's go ahead and change the colour of the tram just so it blends in a little bit more. Let's kind of go for a bit of a darker green. You know, and just kind of customize it to your liking. So again, this kind of build is a really nice focused center, maybe for a new area that you're starting. And it's a nice different way to use a different shaped park. You almost have like, you know, two halves of a park. Obviously it is all the same park, but it's a nice way to kind of, you know, attract Sims to your area and make a little bit of just more of a focused build. And it's a nice way of using different policies and specializations and park assets as well, rather than just having, you know, a park alongside a road and then that's it. And then with the outer edges of this, you can surround this with either commercial, maybe office space. I wouldn't, residential or office space. I wouldn't really go for commercial because you want kind of your commercial focus to be here, which is where everyone's arriving to. We've got some people using the tram network now as well, which is really sweet to see. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, a like below is very much appreciated. Equally as much if you didn't enjoy it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. This kind of green, organically focused park is a really nice way of making kind of a new centre within your town, or maybe just kind of upgrading an older area, kind of how these modular builds are meant to be. And it's a nice way of using some park assets and specializations as well. There is also a bunch of policies you can apply to this area, such as kind of prefer parks, which increases the land value around park areas, which will just make your area a little more appealing for your Sims to kind of mill around that area. Don't forget, we're also running a series on the channel called the Build Guide, where we're currently building an entire map from start to finish, and we're doing some really nice things on that, having recently built a diverging diamond interchange, and also some live streams of detailing on that series as well. So if that sounds like a bit of you, consider hanging around on the channel. We have a really nice community here. Yeah, enjoy the rest of this kind of outro pan and showing off the detailing, and let me know what you think of it in the comments, and if you do actually end up using this design in your own cities. But otherwise, I'll leave you alone. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.